When Bitcoin hit its peak price in the last quarter of 2021, Michael Saylor was a genius. Unfortunately, his period of genius lasted for only about a year. In the middle of 2020, Saylor spent over $1 billion purchasing Bitcoin. When his company, a publicly traded tech company named MicroStrategy, purchased the first tranche of Bitcoin, they did so at average cost of $15,000. The next time they made a purchase, the company did so at an average price of $23,000. Saylor faced significant opposition as he purchased these coins. People believed Bitcoin's price would plunge and the investment would prove to be short-sighted. But barely a year later, he would be proven right as the soaring price of Bitcoin doubled MicroStrategy's investment. At this point, many investors would have decided to pack up and enjoy their profits, but not Saylor. He decided that he would simply buy more. He believed that Bitcoin was the future and he would be an essential part of it. Michael Saylor is, by all accounts, an extremely brilliant man. As a young child, he was a huge reader. Later, Saylor went to MIT, one of the world's most exclusive institutions. He finished his studies and graduated with double majors in aeronautics and astronautics and science, technology, and society. Saylor went on to work at DuPont, where he developed computer simulation models to help companies anticipate and predict fundamental market changes. He had already worked on computer simulations at MIT at this point. In his thesis, he designed a Renaissance Italian city-state with 3 branches of government and used computer science to design a more equitable and stable government for the state. The simulations that Saylor developed anticipated that there would be a recession in many of DuPont's markets in the 1990s. Saylor's relationship with DuPont eventually led to the chemical giant seeding his own company, which became the tech giant MicroStrategy. Michael Saylor founded MicroStrategy in 1989, and the company has consistently defied the odds. Every single year, MicroStrategy provided value to the companies it consulted for, and every single year it turned a profit. That was how it pulled itself by the bootstraps to become a publicly traded billion-dollar company. Saylor wasn't the average tech founder who would sell his company for profit. His goal was to change the world, and MicroStrategy was the right vehicle to do that. Saylor had always wanted to build something so important that he would be spoken of in the same breath as Caesar or Thomas Edison. He believes that the sheer willpower can create reality no matter how radical. This ideology drove Saylor and would ultimately explain the incredible risks he was willing to take. MicroStrategy started as a simple data mining business. The company developed software for data mining and sold it to companies that needed it. However, things changed in 1992 when MicroStrategy received a contract to help McDonald's develop a tech that helped it analyze the efficiency of its promotions. It was that contract that helped Saylor to understand that intelligence was the future. In time, Saylor became obsessed with other types of intelligence. He realized the value of intelligence, and MicroStrategy could harness it to propel humanity forward. This propensity to always look for the next bigger thing is one of the things that drove Saylor to Bitcoin. In 2020, Michael Saylor made a shocking announcement on a call with shareholders. He painted a bleak picture for the future of fiat currency, argued that the returns from holding cash were falling and the strength of dollar was fading. Saylor said he believed that the way forward for MicroStrategy was to buy Bitcoin. At the time, MicroStrategy had reserves of about $500,000. Since the company only needed around $50 million on hand to operate, Saylor had enough leeway to invest as much as he could in Bitcoin. In the short term, Saylor's investment paid off. MicroStrategy announced in December 2020 that it had bought a total of 70,000 Bitcoins with an average purchase price of around $16,000. As MicroStrategy bought Bitcoin, so did Michael Saylor. In October 2020, Saylor announced that he'd personally purchased over 17,000 Bitcoin at an average price of around $9,000. By October 2021, the Bitcoin Saylor personally held was worth over $1 billion. When he made the purchase, he paid over $200 million. That reflected a capital gain of over 500% in a year. But Saylor didn't just see Bitcoin as an investment vehicle. He saw it as a currency of the future, and the price of Bitcoin was a mere addendum. That's why in 2021, as Bitcoin started to slip and tumble down, he posted a tweet declaring he was a Bitcoin maximalist. Bitcoin maximalism is the belief that Bitcoin is inherently superior to all other digital assets, and that in the long term, it will be the only digital asset that survives and provides actual value. Unfortunately, the market doesn't reward religious beliefs, at least not in this cycle. cycle. When Bitcoin began to slip, MicroStrategy rapidly went from making to losing money. As Bitcoin prices plummeted, the company lost roughly $1.8 billion. However, through his loss, Saylor remained unfazed. As a Bitcoin maximalist, the short-term price of Bitcoin was noise to him. But that was just for Saylor. The losses themselves were wreaking absolute financial havoc on MicroStrategy. They had gone all in on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin had burned the company's fingers. In the end, Saylor had no choice but to resign as the CEO of MicroStrategy. He handed over the company to Phong Le, the former CFO. While he retained his position as executive chairman, the company's day-to-day running was put in Lee's hands. One could imagine that his devastating loss would make Saylor rethink things, but it didn't. He only doubled down on his Bitcoin purchase strategy. Saylor resigned not because he didn't believe in Bitcoin or believed he was wrong. He left because he wanted to have more time to promote and purchase Bitcoin. Hence, the company was doubling down on its strategy, not changing it. And that is precisely what Bitcoin maximalism is. Now, on the flip side, Phong Le, MicroStrategy's new CEO, doesn't have the same passion for Bitcoin as Saylor. Therefore, it is plausible that the company will be more restrained in its Bitcoin purchase strategy. Michael Saylor is currently one of the highest profile promoters of Bitcoin. It's important to know why he supports Bitcoin and how strong his resolve is. This may help influence investment decisions and generally help people better understand the future of cryptocurrencies. Now click the subscribe button and I'll see you next week!